Hello everyone, welcome back to my video on The Wasteland by T.S. Eliot. Now, in the previous video, we talked about what makes the poem difficult, right? Now, in this video, I'm going to talk about the key elements that you need to focus on if and when you're trying to read the poem, okay? Now, the first question that you need to ask yourself is, why was this poem written? Now, I'm pretty sure that you've asked that question a million times, like, why was this poem written? Well, that is not what I meant. But what is the significance of that time? Why did he write it like that at, at such a point in his history, in his lifetime? Now, you need to understand that the wasteland, also, on a side note, whenever you talk about the wasteland, whenever you write about it, whenever you speak about it, always refer to the poem as the wasteland. There are three independent words. And I believe Eliot was extremely, particular about it. And I want to be particular about it as well on his behalf. Okay. So the wasteland was not written when Eliot was feeling extremely happy on cloud nine. No. This was written when he was going through the hardest of times. He was going through a lot of things in his personal life. There was a marital problem, there was overwork, there was a lack of funds profession in his professional life, there was a nervous breakdown. So these are the things that Eliot went through as a human being, as an individual, as T.S. Eliot. Now, to add to all that, to add to the fire, there was this, lingering disillusionment because of the First World War. Now, this poem was not written during the First World War; it was written just after the First World War. So the effects of the First World War was the effects were really strong at that period of time, at that point of time. So there was this lingering disillusionment, disgust, and an emotional collapse. Just think about it. If your own country is at war all the time, there will not be any academic progress. There will not be any spiritual peace. You're constantly fighting. Your dear and near ones are dying. So would you feel like living anymore? I don't think we will. We'll feel a sense of disillusionment. Your hope will die. Your hope will dissipate. That's exactly what happened with the people of the United States, with the people of England, with the people of the world. So, in many ways, you can say that the wasteland is an extended metaphor of man's spiritual decay because everyone felt like there was nothing to look forward to. There was futility that man found in everything, like not just the futility of war. And I hope you know the meaning of futility. It means uselessness, not just the uselessness of war, but also the uselessness of life, the uselessness of joy, the uselessness of marriage, of all social institutions, of church, of religion. What's the point in it? Because everyone is dying. Every memory brings back, nightmares. So, what is the whole point in living is what every individual felt at that period of time. So, a poem would be just like that. So, the themes are about terror, about barren lust. Everyone was going through a period of lust, and there was no love between each other. And there was, as I said, futility, alienation. Everyone felt alone in this world, and this underlying boredom. What's the point? What to do next? Nothing, just sitting idle. So, in many ways, the poem is fragmented. Just like the modern society. Do you remember what we said in the previous video? How the poem was fragmented in its narrative? Just think about it. Why would Eliot, a great poet like Eliot, would purposely make the poem fragmented? Well, he wanted to reflect what the world was like at that time. The poem, just like the world, is fragmented, or I said it the other way around. The world is as fragmented as the poem, or maybe much worse than that. Yes? So, this is the significance behind that. And I would suggest that if you do not know much about the First World War, you should, after, or maybe you can pause it if you want, just have a quick read about the First World War and the effects of the First World War, not just for the people of England, but for the world. Okay? And have a quick read of Eliot's biography. Why did he come to Britain even though he was an American? Why was this sudden shift? Why did he want to change his country just like that? Okay? Have these thoughts in mind, have these questions in mind, and let's look at the next point. Now, if you're trying to study the poem, this is my suggestion because this is what I used to do, is to look at these four elements: dedication, epigraph, central consciousness, and the legends. Now, don't worry, you just have to look at the dedication, which means to whom is this poem dedicated? Who is this important figure that Eliot prays to, or rather, he kind of alludes to. Who is this person that Eliot respects? We need to know a bit about that. The second one is the epigraph. I think a lot of people kind of forget to talk about the epigraph when they talk about the wasteland. Everyone talks about, they quote lines from the poem, but many of them don't talk about the very famous epigraph that comes just before or just above the poem. So if you have your poems with you, just have a quick look at it. Can you see the epigraph? And try to understand the significance of the epigraph. It's a mixture of Latin and Greek. Why did he do that, and what is that epigraph saying? What's the translation? We need to have a quick look at that. And if you read that epigraph, you will have a very good idea about what the wasteland is. I loved the wasteland because I loved the epigraph. Now, the third point is, what is the central consciousness of the poem? And I remember telling you in the previous video that there is no fixed speaker in the poem, but we need to know whether there is any, because even though there is no fixed speaker, it feels like there is this figure that is looming around, someone who is there seeing everything, just like us, the reader. There is also someone else within the poem, seeing everything, recording everything. Who is this person, and why is he significant to this poem? And the fourth important one are the legends that are mentioned in the poem. There are a lot of legends, like the fisherman legend, the Holy Grail legend. There are so many stories, very famous stories from Greek and Latin and French, that are mentioned within the poem. Now, you really need to know what is the significance, because if you do not know the legend, you will not understand why, in the first place, is the poem titled The Wasteland. The title itself comes from one of the legends. So, you have to have a quick read of the legends. And if you do all these things, like have a quick look at to whom it was addressed, what is the meaning of the epigraph, what is the who is the central consciousness, and what are the legends? If you at least look at these 4 points, I'm pretty sure you will feel like the wasteland is not that difficult a poem that you thought it would be. Okay, now let's have a discussion about the dedication, epigraph, central consciousness, and legends in the next video. I hope you're able to understand this. In the next video, we'll talk about a wonderful man that you personally should be extremely grateful to, Ezra Pound. Thank you so much. See you next time.